And the topic for tonight was, how do I keep my heart open when I'm scared? And as you can imagine, we have lots of things that are creating opportunities for us to be scared. So, why did I choose this subject? I really believe that we need to be able to handle, to embrace change, because uh, there's always been change. It's just coming at us at a pretty rapid rate. And the real way for us to manage change is to be in the present moment. There is no tomorrow, there's only now. And so we can shift from the energy of being scared to away from resistance and overwhelm. And I believe that that ability, that skill to adapt, requires an open heart, a vibration of grounded energy and empowered, not operating from fear, but from empowerment. And so tonight I want to be able to share my understanding of that and share some methods, share a method for you to consider through an experience. And I hope you enjoy it. One of the things that I always say I'm going to do is to center, and I generally never do it. So I'm going to do that tonight. And centering is the process of us bringing our awareness from the mind, the focus of our attention from the mind down into the heart and into the body, as a way of connecting with the energy in our body, connecting with our heart, and letting go of everything that we've gone through so far today, which is a lot, right? Because every day is action packed. Even if I don't leave the house, it's still action packed. The present moment is action packed. And so when we come present like this, uh, we are asking our higher power to take everything from us for this moment so that we can receive what it is that we need to receive. You're not obligated to receive anything. It's always a choice. And the choice is yours to take what works, to contemplate, to practice what works, and let go of everything else. So let's begin by just closing our eyes and take a nice big deep breath and let it go with a sigh. And again, big deep breath in. And then just bring your attention to the rising and the falling of your chest. And this might be very hard if you've had an extremely busy, hectic day. But it is a practice, and just stay with it. It takes about 5 or 6 breaths to interrupt the stream of thoughts. And when you can, just start lengthening the inhale and the exhale. Feel your feet on the floor, your hands resting on your lap, in your chair. And just give your body permission to let go, to relax. And we ask now to just surrender all of our burdens for this period of time so that we might be open for divine will to move through us, in us and through us, as a community gathered together here to share energetically. I thank each and every one of you now for joining. I thank each and every one of you who have joined the replay. And just bringing your hands together in prayer position in front of the heart and opening the eyes. In Jai Bhagwan, which means I honor the light within you. Namaste. Blessings. Kedmila Falcha. And so much information being thrown at us right now, isn't there? So many aspects of life that are being tested. Racism being called out internationally. COVID-19 hasn't gone away. Employment, financial insecurity. And I sit here sometimes dreaming that wouldn't it be wonderful, I think it's called utopia, if all of our injustices were resolved. I watched this TED talk about a Norwegian TV program that brought a bunch of kids, teenagers, over to Cambodia. They wanted them to experience what it was really like in the third world. And they kind of watched their reaction as they went through these different experiences. Initially, they put them in somebody's home where they slept on the concrete floor, and they were able to rationalize, oh, that's, they're just used to that. And they're not used to the kind of comfy bed I got at home. And then they put them to work in a factory, sitting at a sewing machine all day long. And they were going, yeah, but they're used to it. I'm not used to this leaning over and stuff, but they're used to it. And then they paid them for their work, and they took them to a supermarket to buy food. And they quickly realized that they couldn't buy much food. And they later found out that their hostess, the lady, the woman they were living with, mother died from starvation. Not from illness or injury, but because she couldn't buy food. And that cracked open the veneer of the distance between them, these young Norwegian middle-class students, and the reality of these sweatshop workers. And in so many ways, we feel powerless to change so much that's incorrect and wrong in our worlds. And I'm being triggered big time, all the time. And when I get triggered, the tendency, I think the natural reaction is to close the heart, because we want to retreat inside. It's overwhelmed, and the body reacts. And it's the fear of rejection, the fear of being hurt, the fear of authority, whatever it is that I'm currently dealing with, and there's no shortage of choices. My tendency has always been to numb myself. When I was younger, it was the only way I knew to be able to handle the imbalance of stress. My system was on overload. What I did was I covered the feelings of shame, guilt, apathy, whatever it is, that I'm hopeless, helpless. The dilemma is that when I numb, I cannot feel what I want, what I'm seeking, which is the happiness, the joy, the gratitude, the abundance of life, because when I numb one, I numb the other. And when I'm numbing, I affect all of my relationships, my closest relationships, my work relationships, and ultimately I end up affecting my health. If I have an argument with my wife or my best friend or somebody at work, I shut my heart to not get hurt, or out of anger, spite. And because I'm doing that, I cannot access affection at the same time. So I can't be mean and nice. I can't be protective and nice. And so that results in me separating physically, emotionally. There's division, there's resentment. I'm not interested in her point of view or their point of view. I need to protect myself from my belief system, and I'm digging my heels in because I'm right, and they need to change. There's an amazing book called Power versus Force that a friend of mine, Dennis, used to constantly try to get me to read. And he talks about power is used in the service of others. Force is used in self-serving. So when I get into an argument and I want to win, consciously or unconsciously, or I want the other person to apologize or fix whatever it is, I'm using force, which is at the lowest end of the energetic scale, the lowest form of vibration: shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear. So I can imagine you could think of a situation where you've gotten into, and it doesn't have to be a big deal to set me off these days. It probably doesn't have to be a big deal to set you off. Can you think of a situation where the energy rises and there's just this desire to get away or to be right? So what happens when I have a closed heart is I'm effectively numbing my emotions, and I close myself off to love, compassion, joy, intuition, wisdom, and I become isolated inside. I'm like, Gerda tells a story about the person who was hurt in a relationship. Their love of their life ended the relationship, and so in order to protect themselves, they built a castle on the top of a hill with a moat, and they pulled the drawbridge up to be safe, and then said, okay, now you can love me. We become defensive, stubborn. I have a little bit of a stubborn tendency. Become demanding. I'm actually moving around energetically looking for conflict. I'm looking for danger, so I'm being triggered by anything. I'm planning the wreckage of the future. All of my past experiences give me a frame of reference that I don't want to repeat what hurt. I want to make sure it doesn't happen. And so I'm thinking, well, that might happen, so I better do this, or that might happen, so I better do this. So I'm planning the potential of a wreckage while I'm in the present moment, safe and sound. And I refuse to be vulnerable for fear of being hurt. This is called closing your heart. Gratitude. Who would have thought of gratitude as a solution? So, how can I open my heart when I'm scared? The advantages of having an open heart, one, first of all, is that the energy is still going to be the same. The energy that I'm currently calling scary. So we have to change our relationship with the way we're feeling. And I tell the story of a musician that relayed when he was in the dressing room under the stage before he went on, he would start getting what he called stage fright, and he'd start feeling the energy inside. And then as he got up and went down the tunnel towards the stage, that would start building and building and building. So by the time he got to the stage, he was actually shaking with stage fright. But as soon as he grabbed the microphone, it went away and he started singing. And so it was suggested to him to change what he was calling it from stage fright to stage power. That it was the energy building up in him, divinity, source building up in him so that he would be able to transmit powerfully. That's still the same energy with a different name. So when we risk being hurt, when we open our heart, because we want to be open to love and compassion and joy and empathy, we can be open to the other person's point of view. We start to see it's not all about me. I'm opening myself up to be vulnerable so I can see what reality is doing. If I get bumped at an airport, it's not about me. The plane is doing what the plane's going to be doing. When I start opening my heart, I'm standing in a place of inner power. I'm not relying on external things to fix me and make me feel better. I have a knowing that I'm going to be okay. And what we're doing is we're building a resilience to external stressors, because the external stressors will never go away. It's always going to be how I relate to them. So I'm moving to a higher internal vibration than fear. Force, I'm going to make it happen, or I'm going to completely withdraw into apathy, is self-serving. Power is divinity manifesting, co-creating with me, with you, so that we can create the life that we want, that we have, that is given to us. So some ground rules for how do I open my heart? Well, if you're in danger of abuse, physically, mentally, emotionally, you need to get help. It's too hard to try and practice these things in extreme situations. You need to get help. Timing, discernment as to when the timing is right for you to feel safe and practice opening in your heart. It's not probably a good place to start practicing if you're on the front row of a demonstration. You need to start with smaller things and with people that you trust. Find people that you trust. I'm sure you have some that you love and trust, and tell them what you're doing. Share what you're trying to do. The other night, last night, I shared with Radha how edgy I was feeling. Now, that was edgy for me to share. It didn't have to be dramatic. I can be edgy all day and not have a way of dealing with it, and then something happens at home and I blow up. Or I'm edgy at home and then I go to work and I blow up. You know, you kick the dog, that whole story. So it's just becoming aware. So I want to build a relationship with Radha. So I'm going to tell her, listen, I'm going to start sharing when I feel really vulnerable. I'm not looking for you to fix me. Please don't try to fix me. And that was always my thing, was let me help. You know, like, what can I do? What can I do? You don't have to do anything. You just have to be present and receive. That will help build confidence and self-esteem, because it's practice. Everything is practice. So what are we looking for? We're looking to recognize when we're triggered. And when I get triggered, I want to numb, because if I don't have the resilience, if I don't have the capacity to know what to do with it, then I'm going to look to get away from it. Well, there's a couple of telltale signs: heart rate, blood pressure, adrenaline. I'm getting triggered. I'm looking for do something. My emotions rise: the frustration, anger, fear, impatience. All of these things happen automatically. So it's not an easy task to recognize when you're in reaction initially, because your brain and body goes into an automatic survival routine to protect you. Now, if you're not in physical danger, not in danger, and what's being triggered is somebody doesn't like the way you dress or work or cook or talk or whatever it is, and I'm not, then it might take a little while to realize you're in reaction. And that's okay. You realize when you realize. The practice gets you to be able to realize sooner. It's not that you don't ever react, because that's habituated, it's instinctual. But what we want to do is embed in our belief system that reality is as it is. Eckhart Tolle says, it is as it is. Just because I don't like it is not going to change this moment. And this moment is the only place that exists. So I have to allow my acceptance of this moment so they can inform my action, inform my response. Otherwise, I'm acting habitually, instinctively, and that's reaction, force, fight or flight, fear. If I accept this present moment as it is, despite the fact that I might not like it, I can reconnect with my brain, basically. So in yoga, it's called a burn, it's called tapas. When you kind of think clearly and your mind goes kind of haywire, and it's basically, I want it my way right now. Like the little kid stamping my feet. If you don't do it right now, I'm going to scream the house down. And that's basically what we're doing, an adult version of that. So there's no guilt in that. There's no guilt in instinctual reaction. The body-mind complex is feeling threatened, and it wants to be protective. And so what we have to do is use our intelligence to know when we're really threatened, the saber-toothed tiger, or it's a modern version of it, or whether it's my ego, my persona, my belief is being threatened. It's not life-threatening, it's a belief. So we want to move to the heart. What does that mean? When we move to the heart, we gain access again to our short-term memory, the prefrontal cortex. We gain access to wisdom and intuition. In the Bible, it's called the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, self-control. Freedom comes in the form of choosing. That's what free will is, the ability to choose. Animals don't have the ability to choose. They operate instinctually. Curtis says, you don't see a lion go, well, you know what? I think I'm going to become a vegetarian because I really don't like chasing antelope. They operate instinctually. We have the gift of free will, a choice between good, I like, I don't like. We may have to do this 100 times a day, and that's okay because it's a practice. Each time we do it, by connecting with our heart, rebalancing the heart-mind relationship, we're moving into the present moment, which is where joy exists. So how do I interrupt? Well, you first have to ask for help. And the help isn't outside. The help is inside. You have to ask your own inner source of power to help. Because you're already in the mind, and the mind is in reaction. So you want to go to your higher power. And it doesn't matter. Everybody's higher power is different. That's reality. So what do? Well, the easiest and fastest way, you've probably heard 1,000 times from me, is to connect with the breath. But it might be a mantra. It might be a prayer. It might be a hymn. It might be, you choose what works to interrupt. If it's breath, it takes 4 or 5 breaths. Then you have to find what that tension in the body, because the reactive mind is creating a chemical response in the body. And you have to find that sensation. Hot, cold, tingling, numbness, vacant. For years, I couldn't feel anything in my body other than pain in my gut, which is where I held everything. But once you connect with that sensation, once you connect to that energy, that vibration, it starts to calm down. The body, what you're telling the body-mind complex is that I'm safe. It's okay. Good job. You can back down for a little bit. And then I can respond to what's actually happening from this place of knowing, this place of power, rather than scared, reactive, an inner intelligence that is always available to me when I'm not losing my mind. I mean, now you know where that expression comes from. You literally do lose part of access to your mind when you're in reaction. There's a great one. So we want to move into this energetic field of power. There's a great poem by Rumi. And it says, out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, my choosing good, bad, I like, I don't like, there is a field. And I used to think he was talking about like a literal field. A field, and I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. This field is where we connect with inside, this field of energy that's there all the time. And sometimes it gets pretty agitated by our reactions. And sometimes it's there available for us, and it requires our focusing. We cannot solve what's going on inside of us by using some temporal solution outside of us. It's just not available. They're all temporary solutions. Try. You have tried, right? So we meet in this field. And when we meet in this field, there is no difference between us. We're all the same. So I want to do a short experience with you that we call, let's call it observing energy. And so I want you to have a comfortable seated position. Comfortably your feet in the ground, hands on your lap, and then when you're ready, close your eyes. And I'm going to lead you through this little thing, about 5 minutes, 7 minutes. So make sure you're comfortable. And we're going to approach it from one or two ways. If you have physical pain in your body, you can use that, or a restriction in your body, you can use that. You can observe that. Or if you don't, then you can think of an unresolved situation that you're dealing with. It shouldn't be too hard today. And then what we're going to do is bring that situation into the mind and then find it in the body. Find where we're feeling it. What am I feeling? Sore neck, sore back, whatever it is, I'm going to feel that and go there. And then we're going to draw an imaginary circle around whatever it is I feel. So for me, it would be like in my right around my belly button. And then we're just going to watch. We're going to breathe. I'm going to guide you in the breathing, and you're just going to watch the sensation. And what we're doing is we're giving acknowledgement to what's happening in our body that we normally ignore or numb. That we normally numb. Because that's what we're not able to be with, is the energy, sensation, the vibration in our body. We don't know how to deal with it. Remember when she said joy is intense, an opportunity for somebody to relapse? Joy is pretty intense. There's a lot of energy. And so we have to build our capacity to experience energy so that we can experience the fullness of life, whether it's good or bad, whether it's nice or not nice. Doesn't matter. It's still life. It's all here. It's all coming. It's all going. Nothing's permanent. Okay, close your eyes. Either find your pain or restriction, or bring your situation into your mind. And once you feel the sensation that's associated with your situation, draw an imaginary circle around it. And we're not trying to make anything happen here. We're just observing. We're acknowledging the reality of what's happening in our body. And now just breathe. Nice, relaxed inhale, exhale. And guide your breath inside the circle. Breathing into the sensation. You're not trying to make it go away. You're not trying to make anything happen, really. You're just acknowledging the present moment experience in your body mind complex. And just observe what's going on. And as you feel this, just allow the body to relax. And if the mind comes in, it's okay. Just come back to the sensation. Then draw the circle and breathe into it. As if you're saying to the sensation, it's okay that you're here. If the sensation changes or moves, just follow it patiently. Stay with the process. There's the possibility that the mind wants to run away. And just notice what's happening in your body as you stay present. You're making space for this sensation, this energy to be acknowledged and be a part of you without it needing to be different. Nice, easy breathing. In fact, you can actually thank the sensation for revealing itself to you. Even pain is a messenger that you can release your resistance to. And momentarily it might increase in awareness. Sometimes the pain lessens because we're not resisting. And so now just bring your attention to the point between your eyebrows. And we're just going to let go. And we're given the energy permission to just reintegrate whatever way is appropriate for this moment. And just allow our body to continue to relax. And 2 or 3 more nice relaxed breathing. And so just opening your eyes. And this is something you can practice by yourself. Just lie down in the bed, sofa, sit in the chair. And you're building your awareness, attentiveness to what's happening in the body. And so just as a recap, we talked about all these challenges that are happening and kind of overwhelming us. They have the potential to overwhelm us. And when we do, we react instinctually. We kind of close our heart into a defensive mechanism, and we lose access to the peace of mind. We're scared instead of feeling power, our own internal power. And so we want to become aware by noticing the tension in the body, which is what you just did, even if it was only for a minute or two. You have to ask for help internally to interrupt the mind, your own higher power. And you have to then be willing to let go of not getting what you want for this moment and accept reality, because that's letting go. That's detaching from the situation. That's called observing, witnessing the reaction instead of being totally involved in it. and then use some form of observe, release energy experience, like we talked about a mantra or a hymn or a song or a breath. And that gives the body the opportunity to stabilize the energy field. And then we think and speak and act out of a place of grace, out of a place of power. So the power lies within you to embrace change, to affect change. Power lies within you to find inner peace, a higher vibration, and then share that peace. No one can do it for you. It's empowering to know that you have the ability within you. It's not under somebody else's control. You're moving from reacting to responding. And we say responding is a responsibility. It's a self-responsibility. The ability to respond is where free will comes in. And then you move in co-creation with your higher power, with consciousness, with God, with divinity, whatever it is that you identify with as true for you. You co-create. You move from a place of huge power. So as soon as we are done, I would like you to write down 3 things that you have learned. Why? We forget the vast majority of what we hear within 48 hours. And if you think of all the learning that we've done over our lives, how much knowledge and wisdom we have, and yet how little we know in comparison to what's available in the world. Just think of a book versus all the libraries in the world, and then you get a slight grasp of how little we actually know. But you know what? We have an inherent knowing of the truth for us, and we can connect with that. And then once you've done that, I want you to write down 1 action step you're going to take tonight or tomorrow for your own self-care. An action step, it's an intention. You're creating an intention for yourself. And if you want, you can put it in the comments below, or you can email it to me, because then you're verbalizing it, you're affirming it to creation. I am going to, I am doing, I will do. And I will support you in that, as everybody in this community would support you in an affirmative step for your own self-care. I want to thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. It's edgy for me to do this because I want to be vulnerable and talk and reveal with the intention only of sharing so that you might learn. And I hope and pray that you've learned something tonight. If you had the opportunity to donate, I really thank you for that. I've never done that before. So that's awesome if you did. If you'd like to, I'd be happy to send you a recording of this. Just email me or text me below. And I want to say hi to Louise and Lance, who both said hi in the, whatever you call that thing at the bottom. So reality is reality. In this moment, our power lies in connecting to this moment. And we do that by connecting to in here, the heart, the body, the energy body. And that reconnects us to the wisdom, the higher intelligence, spirit, God. And from there, that place of limitless, unlimited power, we can manifest our reality, respond to what's in front of us. Look at those teeth. We have the power to be fearless when we are connected to Source inside, and we're not dependent on an external, temporary, numbing agent to make us feel good. And there's nothing bad with all of the things that is available to us in the world. It's the reason, intention behind what we do. Pleasure's good. Pain's very uncomfortable, and I do not choose it. Blessings to each and every one of you. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, and I look forward to hearing from you in whatever way you wish to communicate. Love and blessings to you all.